Welcome to the Kiwimana Day. Hi everyone, welcome to our episode 31. This week we are talking about fake honey, extractors and tricks at the supermarket. You've joined us here at Kiwimana and we are Gary and Margaret.
Hi, this is Gary.
Hi Gary over there. We are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitakere Ranges in West Auckland, New Zealand. And our podcasts are all about beekeeping, gardening, and a bit of politics, about environmental issues. And we've also been known to go off in tangents every now and again, about other issues that concern the environment or
concern the bees.
Or concern us. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks to everyone for joining us this week. And our 31st podcast, that's fantastic.
Yes.
And the show notes for this podcast are at kiwimana.co.nz/31. So,
just a bit of an apology there that we're a bit late with this one. We've just been so busy as it's the start to our very busy beekeeping season. So for those of you who are on the other side of the world who are just closing down, we're just building up now and it's starting to look like a real good one this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we done some splits and found queen cells and picked up swarms, so it's all going.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about more of that as the show goes on.
Absolutely. And what's happening at Kiwimana HQ, Gary?
Well, we've been busy doing Deca checks, and Deca checks are a check to prove you've got AFB, to check you haven't got AFB. And
well, that's the desired outcome, that you haven't got it, but you have to do the check, eh?
Yeah, because legally you have to do that every year. So that's been that's a good thing to do, and we encourage everyone out there to do their Deca course so they can actually know what to look for when they see diseases in their hives.
Absolutely, and for those of you who don't know, a Deca is a disease elimination conformity agreement, which you as a beekeeper should be, meeting that requirement that you check your bees for American foul brood and that you get your paperwork signed off on an annual form and send it through to Assure Quality, who are representatives and contractors to the Ministry for Primary Industries. It's a requirement, so we really encourage people to do it. But it's a new beekeeper service that we provide, so if you're really busy and you just don't have time to do that, then we can help you out with that. And that's available through our online shop at kiwimana.co.nz.
Yep, that's true. And what else have we been doing? I've been building mesh boards, and I've built some mesh boards, and they all sold out within 24 hours, so...
Yeah,
we have to build some more, don't we?
That was just incredible because we'd been waiting so long to get them finished, and we'd been so busy, so we finally got a whole lot more built. Then we put it on to we put it in an email out, and now we're sold out again. So we're planning our next build session in the workshop for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've also built a hive stand, which I'm doing. There'll be a blog post coming out about that soon. It's like a big hive stand, and we've actually got that on our quarantine site, haven't we? With our new swarm.
That's an awesome idea and definitely very useful for your back, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully it'll be easier to identify which hive is on what position, so because they'll clearly make the positions on there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we've learnt over the years. We've pretty organised in how we've set up our apiary, and I think it is important to have set sites or spots for each hive, and then you can manage your hive better, and when you do your splits, you know where the genetics are from, those kind of things. So we have a certain spot available in the apiary, and then then we name our hives according to where we got them from. And if they're our genetics, we just number them. Like, say, for example, we found that one of our hives is called Swanson, where we got it from originally, and then we've just got 7 Swansons now, so we just going through the genetics, so we know exactly how long they've been with us and that they are a strong genetic queen. So, yeah, it does help us manage our apiary a lot better.
Absolutely. And other things, I've had the flu, didn't I, for about a week, so I was like zonked out completely.
Yeah, man flu, so it was pretty fatal.
It was a terrible flu, I tell you.
But you've come back from the dead, haven't you?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, I missed the queen rearing demonstration that Andy did, which would have been good to see.
Yeah, we blogged about that one because it was quite interesting. We had Andy and a group of his Korean friends came to our apiary, and we did a bit of, larva grafting for queen rearing, but it failed, unfortunately. But it was a nice experience, and it has inspired me to continue on with my queen development ideas and that kind of thing. So it was worthwhile. Very good.
Yeah, I think the reason why it failed, but was because that hive already had a queen, didn't it? We discovered later. So they wouldn't have raised another queen, I don't think.
No, I don't agree with that one, because basically the day that we did it, it was extremely windy and cold, and I just think the larvae just weren't viable, and I think we squashed a few, unfortunately. So beginner's luck, that, it's just one of those things, and I think that it does show you that if you want to do sort of experiments or whatever, you really need to make a lot of preparation, get everything in place before you go down that road, so that if you're successful, you've got everything in place for that project, I guess.
Absolutely. And you're doing a blog post about that coming up? Queen rearing update, I understand.
Yeah, over time we'll do one more update, because we have got a result in that hive, so I will do a final update from the Spring is Here series, and then we're moving on to a new series which I can go over. Yeah.
Yeah, and what else have you been up to there, Margaret? I hear you're organising a course with Karen, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been working on some extra products. Those of you who have been to our shop, our online shop, we've sort of streamlined our products into 4 categories, and one of those categories is a new one for us, is beekeeping services. And along with doing the Deca checks, we can also help people one-on-one with their new beekeeping experiences and help them, to become more confident in what they need to do for their hive. So we offer that as a service. So, and we're getting some really good feedback, and customers who are absolutely, don't have time, but the one-on-one session really gives them an opportunity to be able to pick our brains and to work with us and learn. So it's awesome, and we're really enjoying that, eh?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And you're also packing orders, I understand.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of orders, so we ship all around New Zealand, and we get queries and we sort them all out, pack everything up, and then I go and drop them at the courier. And I also deliver to locals as well. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and building new stock in the workshop has been a lot of fun and very challenging. And at the moment, it's like frame building time, and that can get a bit tedious. But yeah, at the end of the day, you look at it and you see that you've got all the stock for the bees. So that's all good.
Yeah. Well, here's a tip for people making frames: is you listen to podcasts while you're listening to making frames.
Yeah, that's right. There's lots of podcasts out there you can listen to, that's for sure. And Gary's given me quite a few to listen to. Yep,
that's it. trying to inspire you, Margaret.
Absolutely.
Lots of inspiration out there.
I've got lots of inspiration from our girls anyway in the apiary. So I've been doing so much work in the apiary, and then we've got 3 apiaries now, and Gary's been working on the apiary, our other apiary on an organic farm, and that one had, how many queen cells was that?
Oh, at least 20. Yeah, quite a lot.
Just amazing. And so we've got from, I think, 4 hives, was it?
Yeah, from 4.
From 4 hives, we've now got how many?
4, 7... Oh, about 14, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's huge, and we're doing splits at our main apiary at Kiwimana HQ, and they're all pretty much on their way. And today I had a look inside one of the hives, and there's a huge queen cell in there, so that one's going to be stunning. And we got some queen cells from a queen breeder who had a cancelled order, so he wanted to find homes for them, so we took a few of them on. But at this stage it's too early to tell whether they have been successful. 2 of them, no, I think 4 of them died, so I think we've only got 2 really that we're pinning our hopes on. But
oh, okay, that's a shame, but we'll see how they go.
Yeah.
And what's this about? We're going to be at Craft Out West.
Oh, yeah. We were contacted by the organisers of the Craft Out West in Henderson, and they have an annual craft fair where you can go and buy arts and crafts and things like that. And they wanted us to do a presentation about backyard beekeeping. So we've decided to go ahead and do that, and it's for a good cause. It's for the West Auckland Hospice. So, we're quite excited, and we're going to do a few novelty bee cakes as such, and use honey, and also do a few pictures and things like that. But I'll do a blog post about that to keep you posted on how we're going.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll look forward to that. So let's have a bit of an interlude here, and we'll just talk about the blog recap. Okay, so the top blog posts this week, or this month, the first one was Paul Berry discusses being an organic beekeeper, and that was Paul Berry from Ding Meadery, and that's been very popular, hasn't it, Margaret? We've had over 400 downloads now, so it's going really well.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy, and he's really passionate about what he does, so it's great to know that there's more of us out there that are just really getting stuck into doing our beekeeping and sharing what we can with others. So it's awesome.
So guys, check that out. That's an interesting talk. So it's fantastic. And the next one was Spring is a Sprungin'. That was our last podcast, wasn't it?
Yep.
And that's been very popular.
Yeah, it's good because it's we're trying to keep all our blogs and our podcasts in line with what's happening in the season. So it does make it more relevant and interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the next one we've actually talked about already, that was about the queen rearing and the visitors to Kiwimana HQ. And the next one was 6 big reasons why rural life might be the best option for you. And it was quite a funny comment in there, wasn't it, about do you think you want to run around your house naked? So you can't do that in town, can you?
Well, you can in your house, but I think what she's saying is that you can run around naked if you're living in a rural property, and that it gives you certain freedoms that you might be lacking if you're living in that urban environment.
Yeah, you may get arrested doing that in a urban environment.
Your neighbours may not like that, and you might be arrested for a public display or whatever. But it's a really good article, and it's worth having a look at. It's some interesting things on how to enjoy your life a bit more with a bit of space, and the opportunities that are available to that kind of lifestyle. So have a read of that one, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want to do some guest blog posts for us, please get in touch, because we'd love to hear how you're keeping your bees. If you've learned anything, or you've got a skill that you want to teach other people, get in touch, because we're really keen on hearing about how you guys are keeping your bees, and if you've got good ways to do stuff, you can write an article and send a few photos. That'd be awesome. We'll and you have a look on our blog. There's a thing at the top that says "Write for Us." So check that out, and you can find out some information about how you can achieve that. Yeah,
I think that's a good point, because when we do these decker checks, and when we do some beekeeping services for our customers, we actually meet with our new beekeepers, and they sometimes bring to us new ideas on how they're managing their hive. So it is really interesting, and we'd love for people to write some more content about their beekeeping experiences. So, yeah, get in touch.
Yeah, get involved.
Jeez Louise, what was that all about? Holy moly.
That's our new news.
News at Kiwimana HQ, coming in from Kiwimana HQ live.
Pictures at 10.
Okay, what's next, Gary?
Right, well, news. So we've got some good articles this month. These are the ones that are the most popular. And we had a live webcam from Bavaria in Germany. And they've actually set up a webcam inside a beehive, inside a log hive. And you can actually see the picture of the bees coming and going from the hive. So it's quite fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks really good. And I think that, I love to sit in the apiary and just watch the girls coming and going. And this is kind of like it. So it's quite peaceful to watch, actually.
Yeah, it is. I think it's fascinating. So if you haven't got your own bees, you can watch these guys' bees.
Absolutely.
It'd be interesting to watch them over winter and see what they do.
It'll probably be a lot quieter.
I wonder if they have a light in there, but I wonder how they can see it during winter. Oh, here we go. Here's them coming. It
looks like there's one at the entrance, eh?
Yeah, there's one at the entrance and one inside the hive.
You know,
here we go. Hive collapse. What's this? Oh, this is a story about hive collapsing. We don't want to watch that. No,
it's got some interesting footage there that you probably could have a good look at. So, yeah, enjoy, guys. What's next on the list, Gary?
Right, there's an article here by Randy, and she writes on the Honey Bee Suite blog, which is a great blog, and she's talking about the dangers of borrowed beekeeping equipment and how it's extremely important that you clean the extractors before and after use, because they can be a vector for spreading diseases like European foul brood and American foul brood.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key things that when you in New Zealand, that's one of the key things that they explain when you do your certification for disease elimination conformity agreement, is that one of the biggest risks is beekeepers spreading disease themselves. And unfortunately, if you've got lots of colonies and you're moving them all around and you're using the same gear and one of those colonies gets a disease, those spores go into your honey and into the equipment, onto your footwear, onto your clothes, your hive suit. So, that is one of the key things that you need to learn about when you start beekeeping, is how to keep your bees safe. And that is one of the key things, is what steps and measures you can do to manage that risk. So have a look at that. And also, if you want to find out more about it, take a course up. Go and get your certification and learn about how you can have good beekeeper hygiene.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of threats, we had an article by Rob Butcher from I think it's the Whangarei newspaper, he's talking about honey imports, a manifold threat to our bee population.
Crikey, don't get me started. This is something that has been going on for some time, and unfortunately our Ministry for Primary Industries is considering having Australian honey brought into New Zealand. And why would you bother when we've already got the best honey in the world, and that we don't need anybody else's honey? Thank you very much. And we've got an industry there that can service the whole of New Zealand. So
absolutely,
I don't get that at all.
I think a lot of it is because a lot of the big supermarkets, aren't they owned by Australian companies?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Follow the money trail and see where you end up.
Because I remember when we talked about this in the last podcast, Spring is a Sprungin', we actually there was a case where there was some Chinese honey brought into Australia and then packaged and then sold and then exported away and sold as Australian honey.
I think that is the real risk, because Then it goes on about the issues that are going on overseas and trying to discredit New Zealand products, food products and everything like that. I think there's something going on there, and maybe it's my cynical streak coming to the fore, but it appears to me that there is some kind of discreditation going on with New Zealand food products so that other people can say how awesome they are, but I don't like the way they're going about it, that's for sure.
No. Is that a new word, discreditation?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you heard it here, guys.
That's it.
Okay, so that's a good story. So if you want to check out that, it's kiwimana.co.nz/31. And the next one is about, are you being tricked at the supermarket? Is this about card tricks?
No, I think it's about the spending your dollar trick.
Oh, I see.
So if we put things in certain places or do them, pack them in certain colours or have them at certain eye levels or in certain places.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can support the company, the supermarket and all their shareholders and,
and
keep them
more.
rich.
Exactly. Yeah, now that's an article that was in the New Zealand Herald about the tricks that supermarkets use to get your money. So it's quite interesting. Things like the closed entrance.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in the supermarket, you can't get back out.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to go through the checkout to get out again, don't you?
You do. And then you got to walk past the chocolate bar aisle, remember?
Yeah. They always have that chocolate bar at the end, like oh my God, I've finished my shopping. Thank God for that. Oh, look, there's a chocolate bar. I need it.
I deserve it.
I deserve it after going through all that. Yeah, baby.
I've just battled for 2 hours in the supermarket. I deserve a chocolate bar.
Yeah, and I've been injured because someone rode their trolley on my ankle.
So that's a good article. It's about tells you all the tricks. So if you know the tricks, you might avoid them.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they try and dress up food so it looks so perfect. But then in saying that, is it really perfect or is it actually got some sort of chemical in it to keep it from rotting, or you get boxes of food that says that this is all healthy and stuff, but if it was really healthy it would be in a natural state, not in a blimmin' cardboard box.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
never buy something that you in a box.
Yeah, don't be fooled, guys.
But it's got some good tips at the end too, actually, about things like, make a list and stick to it. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think have a look at those 10 tips, guys, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just don't be a consumer that just takes everything at face value. Have a look at what they're doing and how they manage it, and see, be strong out there, guys.
Absolutely. I think tip number 4 is a very good one. Don't shop when you're hungry. That's really important.
Yeah, is that more about diet and fitness and all that sort of stuff?
I think if you go shopping when you're hungry, you tend to buy more rubbish, don't you?
Well,
or chocolate biscuits.
I suppose the best way to shop is online, and then they send everything to you, so you're not even tempted at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's save you some gas.
You have to drive to the dairy to buy chocolate bars.
Mind you, I remember seeing that thing from Dan Carter,
yeah.
From the All Blacks. He was home at that time and he put a Facebook picture up saying the joys of shopping online, and he had this in his hand. He had this most pathetic looking bunch of bananas, all black and bruised. So he was not impressed at all. So.
Oh, yeah, that's yeah, I don't think I'd buy fruit and veggies for a mail order. I think I'd just go and get those.
Yeah, sometimes because he's just had a child or something, I think, and so I think it was the convenience side of things. So,
oh, yeah, it's convenient.
Yeah, that's the trick, isn't it? That's what the supermarkets do. They trick you into this, easy supply and everything like that, and you think it's so easy, but are you really getting what you should be? Healthy, good, healthy, fresh food that's not chemically treated.
And speaking of chemically treated, I think we touched on this last week, but the story's developing.
You mean last podcast day?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean last month podcast. Yeah. You know, retailers have pulled insecticides deemed harmful to bees. This is about the warehouse and the placemakers.
Yeah, it's a bit of a follow-up, actually, on that last month one.
Yeah, and they plan to remove neonicotinoids from sale once existing stocks run out. And we just asked the question, will other companies follow suit?
So over the last month, we've been having a look out and seeing if other retailers are, following. But unfortunately, they have not decided to toe the line.
I know Mitre 10 is still selling neonicotinoids. I looked the other day, and I logged into their Foursquare page, and I said, this is shocking.
Oh, good on ya. Good on you, Gary.
I don't know if that made any difference, but...
Why not?
It made me
every
feel
bit
better.
helps, yeah.
Exactly.
And you know what? Sometimes if you want to create a change, you've got to start in your own backyard, so...
Well, as Gandhi said, you've got to be the change you want to see in the world.
Absolutely, and what a great...
He was a wise man.
Sorry?
He was a wise man.
Indeed.
Okay, we'll just we'll have some questions from you guys. Just coming up. What a sec. Okay, questions from you guys. And number one, when is the best time to split a hive?
Now?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, basically what it is, it really depends on what you want to achieve in your season. Now, because here in New Zealand, we're just starting the season, we've had some pretty grotty weather and lots of rain. So the girls have been sort of trapped in their hives. So there's the sense for them that they need to start creating cells for swarming. So, depending on what your aim is, you can use it to create more queen cells and split your hives even more, or you can use it as a way to spread the genes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I think it's been quite a mild winter, because some of our hives, they haven't eaten a lot of their honey, It's been quite impressive.
I sort of have a different view on that. I think that
this is judged from the organic bee farm one, I mean. Those ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think probably what's happened is that, because we have had some real low temperatures as well. So we've had some really cold frosts, and we normally, because we're about 300 metres above sea where we are, and we don't usually get frost, but we did have some frost this year. So I think the bees have really handled things really differently, and the rain has kept them locked in the hives because they're not going to fly a swarm out with all this rain.
No, true.
So,
well, they have lately, haven't they? They've been swarming like crazy. Not our bees, other people's.
So, I think if you haven't been creating more room for them, then you would be looking at splitting the hives.
Absolutely. And the next question was, can I'm assuming they mean oxalic acid, be used with honey supers? And we're only recommending the vaporization of it.
Yeah.
We don't recommend the ingesting in sugar syrup. And
that's some people call that the dribble method, where it's been mixed with sugar syrups and then dribbled onto the frames, onto the bees.
Yeah.
And I don't actually like that method. I've used it myself and I've found not very good results. So vaporization, I think, is the best thing. And yes, you can do it when you've got honey supers on. Yep,
you can. Yeah, because we read an article by Randy Oliver, didn't we, about apparently it does cause issues with brood rearing, the ingesting of it, the dribbling of it.
Okay.
So check out Scientific Beekeeping and you can read more about that.
Yeah, he's got some awesome stuff, he said to me, not to me directly, but when we had a meeting and he was in New Zealand, that this just reads so true to me, is that you need to keep your bees in hives that are warm and dry.
Yeah.
So, and I'm doing another blog about warm and dry versus hot and stuffy. So check out that one that's coming up in the next couple of months, guys, because that one is trying to get you to understand, or try to get new beekeepers to understand what happens when you've got a hot and stuffy hive compared to a warm and dry. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Well, I think it will be anyway.
yeah. It's a shame we weren't doing the podcast when he was over here last day. We could have had an interview with him.
Yeah, I think I just really admire all the work he's done, because, he says that New Zealand is a few years behind the whole Varroa thing in terms of the effects that the Varroa's had. But I think this season we're actually getting to a point where we are making a difference with the Varroa, and for our particular apiary, we've been using organic treatments all the way, and our girls are doing really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next question is, what is the best time of the year to catch a swarm in New Zealand?
Now, last week, this weekend just gone, and I think the week coming up, it's just been madness.
Yeah, it's been madness. And I even missed your black game because I had to go out and look at some bees.
I know, and unfortunately there wasn't a result from that. So out of the 3 or 4 call-outs, we've only had one successful capture.
Yeah, that's true.
And we put that one in our quarantine apiary, which is the one that Gary's put in his new hive stand. So
yeah, that's if you follow her on Facebook, you would have seen the photos of that.
Yeah, some really good photos.
And that was from the Huapai Soccer Club. Soccer's football for people in England. And they were doing a tournament, so they weren't too impressed with a swarm of bees flying through it. Yeah,
they had all the tents up and stands and everything like that, and in preparation for the next day. So they definitely didn't want that swarm around then, but the actual swarm was a really lovely swarm, eh?
Yeah, they were, and we even had dinner with them, didn't we?
Yeah, we decided we might as well make the most of it, and at the park that the swarm was sitting in by the tree, we decided that we would take Snow, and she had a good run around, and yeah, we just got some fish and chips and went and sat down on the grass and
by the hive, eh?
A very pleasant dinner.
Yep, that's good. And it was quite funny because no one came up to us.
Yeah, it's funny that they sort of stand at a distance and asking us, what we're doing, because we were walking around in our bee suits, and everyone's all excited about what we're doing and shouting questions across to us. So yeah, it's a lot of fun when you go swarm collecting. So if you get a chance to do it, guys, just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so blog posts coming up soon. So this week we've got bee swarms and how to deal with them. This is a continuation of Margaret's last article, but this one's a bit more detail, isn't it? Isn't it there, Dale? You've done some more details for beekeepers.
Yeah, we're just trying to cover the bases for, from one end of the spectrum to the other. So I hope you enjoy this one, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next one is spring honey flow. That's another one of your ones, isn't it, Margaret?
Yeah, I've just finished the series for Spring is Here, and we're going on to the next step where Spring is Here was all about inspecting your hives, doing your monitoring and using the inspection sheets and creating some records for the work you're doing your treatments to get the girls all prepared, and ensuring that you don't lose your hive through a swarm. Yeah. So the next step is that, what you're going to do in terms of addressing the honey flow. So watch the space. They'll be coming out in the next week. So I hope you enjoy those ones too.
Yeah, and speaking of honey flow, we recommend people use 3/4 boxes, don't we? Because they're really a lot lighter.
Absolutely, and often, you hear about people saying how heavy they are. Well, if you do the 3/4 system like we do, you'll be fine. And it's good to have a spare box when you go down to the apiary so that you can transfer frames. You don't have to lift the whole box at once. You can actually take a frame out one at a time and then put them into the new box. So, you can learn to manage how, the effort and the, managing your back so you don't wreck it through doing the beekeeping. Yeah.
Yeah, it always amuses us when people start beekeeping, they use full-size boxes, and then the next year they don't.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I learnt my lesson early on by having some back issues. I got some disc bulges from lifting a box, and I didn't realise that once the honey flow's on, they are really, really heavy, up to 45 kilos, and a lot of people, when they pick them up, can't put them down because you've got a huge amount of bees in there, and the last thing you want to do is drop them. So,
yeah, I mean, it's like lifting a sack of concrete, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one we've got coming out is a guy called Matt Brake from Hampshire, and he's also known as the Beekeeper UK, and he does a blog, and he discusses how he keeps bees. That's coming out very soon, probably next week.
Yeah, and that's what you touched on when we first started, at the beginning of this podcast.
Oh, that was the introduction to the podcast.
Oh,
yeah, remember?
Oh, that's right.
This is the magic of television.
The magic, yeah. You're keeping me on my toes, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so what's next?
What is a kiwimana garden project? What's that about?
Well, what we decided to do is we decided that we were going to change the apiary because we get a lot of beginner beekeepers coming to our apiary, and we're finding that the way that the apiary was set up is that it makes it a bit difficult to show people into the hive. So we're redoing the apiary setup, and we're doing some gardening and landscaping as well to go with it. So, yeah, it's very exciting. So
yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah.
I'll have to build some more hive stands for it, won't I?
Absolutely.
And the next one is an article by Brandon. He's another guest blogger, so get some guest blog posts in there, guys. And this is borage. Why is it so good for bees? And this is it sounds like an interesting herb, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's in New Zealand it can get away from you. So my suggestion would be is that it is a great thing to plant there, but I'd suggest keeping it contained.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't let it run wild.
And now I've got a question. Now, next.
Okay, what's the question?
Would you love to get an email telling you when we publish new podcasts and blog posts?
Absolutely. How much does it cost?
It's free.
Free? Oh, my goodness. I think that is awesome. And how often does it come out?
Every week.
Every week, and it's free.
Free, and it's our Kiwimana Buzz newsletter. And that's at kiwimana.co.nz/sign up.
So what do you do? What do you do with this newsletter? What's in it?
Well, we have tips and tricks about beekeeping. We also have news, what we're up to that week. So you get first-hand notice of what we're doing. So it's interesting. Yeah,
and we're always talking about our products that we sell and the ways to use them, and any support.
General beekeeping stuff.
Yeah, swarm information if people want to ring us about swarms or how to deal with them.
Yeah, and
we're always available.
Absolutely, and we also talk about the new podcasts and blog posts, so you don't need to keep visiting our site. Well, we'd like you to visit our site, but you get told when they're coming out, so it's awesome.
It's very easy and simple, so just sign up, guys, and, thanks for supporting us. We've got quite a few followers now, and we just love getting your feedback, so it's just awesome, and thank you so much for supporting Kiwimana and our beekeeping work, so it's awesome.
Absolutely. We'll just have a little bumper here, then we'll be right back.
Oh, I love that one. That was a nice one. I like that.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get more of those ones.
Yeah, indeed.
And there's been no iTunes reviews this month, unfortunately.
Okay.
But we had some great feedback about the Paul Berry podcast, so that's awesome.
Yeah, we had a lot of people talking to us about, the different the different ways of keeping bees and the passion of it and how they all enjoyed that. So that was really good to hear.
Yeah, that was good. It would be really cool, guys, if you could go to kiwimana.co.nz/iTunes and leave a review for us, because it really helps our podcast get out there for other beekeepers to find us.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, then tell all your beekeeping friends about us.
Yeah, definitely spread the word.
Yeah, burn it. You can even burn a CD and give it to them. We don't mind.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Spread the word about the kiwimana buzz.
That's right. And subscribe to us on iTunes. And what's our website address, in case people aren't listening on our webpage?
It's kiwimana.co.nz. And if you want to contact us, just email us at info@kiwimana.co.nz.
Absolutely. And the phone stopped ringing. That's good. And if you're overseas, because we had a few people say, how can they help Kiwimana out if they're not in New Zealand and they can't buy our products? So they can use the Amazon link at kiwimana.co.nz/Amazon, and we get a slight commission on that. Not much, but it's enough to buy us a book every few months. So if you can do that, that'd be fantastic. That's kiwimana.co.nz/Amazon.
The other thing you can do is we do have some products, some smaller products like our Kiwi-designed hive tool, which is available, and we are happy to post that over and, give it a go and then see if you can, tell your friends about it. It's a really awesome tool, and, that's another way you can support us, so...
Yeah, we'll have to look at some little things that people can, about other things. Sorry, guys, there's a guy ringing up about a swarm in the background. We'll ignore that.
Sorry about that, but we'll have to ignore that for the moment and get back to...
Yeah, let's be professional. Sorry, it's the middle of the bee season.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it from us. But after the closing, we've got a bonus for you from Marla Spivak.
Yeah.
Why are the bees disappearing? And this is a TED Talk, and I encourage you to have a look at it. And you can even watch the video on the blog page, which is kiwimana.co.nz/31. So, got anything else to bring up, Margaret?
No, I think that's it for me, and thanks guys for listening, and thank you for supporting us, and we really do appreciate all the support that you give us and the feedback. So, yeah, we're really excited. We've got a really busy time in the April and with our beekeeping, and we're just loving it and so glad that you could join us today.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, guys, again for listening. And until next month, we'll see you later.
See ya.
TED Talks are recorded live at the TED Conference and partner events. This episode features bee scholar Marla Spivak. This talk contains powerful visuals. Download the video at TED.com. Here's Marla Spivak.
This is our life with bees. And this is our life without bees. Bees are the most important pollinators of our fruits and vegetables and flowers and crops like alfalfa hay that feed our farm animals. More than 1/3 of the world's crop production is dependent on bee pollination. But the ironic thing is that bees are not out there pollinating our food intentionally. They're out there because they need to eat. Bees get all of the protein they need in their diet from pollen and all of the carbohydrates they need from nectar. They're flower feeders. And as they move from flower to flower, basically on a shopping trip at the local floral mart, they end up providing this valuable pollination service. In parts of the world where there are no bees, or where they plant varieties that are not attractive to bees, people are paid to do the business of pollination by hand. These people are moving pollen from flower to flower with a paintbrush. Now, this business of hand pollination is actually not that uncommon. Tomato growers often pollinate their tomato flowers with a handheld vibrator. Now, this one's the tomato tickler. This This is because the pollen within a tomato flower is held very securely within the male part of the flower, the anther. And the only way to release this pollen is to vibrate it. So bumblebees are one of the few kinds of bees in the world that are able to hold on to the flower and vibrate it. And they do this by shaking their flight muscles at a frequency similar to the musical note C. So they vibrate the flower, they sonicate it, and that releases the pollen in this efficient swoosh, and the pollen gathers all over the fuzzy bee's body, and she takes it home as food. Tomato growers now put bumblebee colonies inside the greenhouse to pollinate the tomatoes because they get much more efficient pollination when it's done naturally, and they get better quality tomatoes. So there's other, maybe more personal reasons to care about bees. There's over 20,000 species of bees in the world, and they're absolutely gorgeous. These bees spend the majority of their life cycle hidden in the ground or within a hollow stem, and very few of these beautiful species have evolved highly social behavior, like honeybees. Now, honeybees tend to be the charismatic representative for the other 19,900 plus species because there's something about honeybees that draws people into their world. Humans have been drawn to honeybees since early recorded history, mostly to harvest their honey, which is an amazing natural sweetener. I got drawn into the honeybee world completely by a fluke. I was 18 years old and bored, and I picked up a book at the library on bees, and I spent the night reading it. I had never thought about insects living in complex societies. It was like the best of science fiction come true. And even stranger, there were these people, these beekeepers, that loved their bees like they were family. And when I put down the book, I knew I had to see this for myself. So I went to work for a commercial beekeeper, a family that owned 2,000 hives of bees in New Mexico. And I was permanently hooked. Honeybees can be considered a superorganism, where the colony is the organism, and it's comprised of 40 to 50,000 individual bee organisms. Now, this society has no central authority. Nobody's in charge. So how they come to collective decisions and how they allocate their tasks and divide their labor, how they communicate where the flowers are, all of their collective social behaviors are mind-blowing. My personal favorite, one that I've studied for many years, is their system of healthcare. So bees have social healthcare. So in my lab, we study how bees keep themselves healthy. For example, we study hygiene, where some bees are able to locate and weed out sick individuals from the nest, from the colony, and keeps the colony healthy. And more recently, we've been studying resins that bees collect from plants. So bees fly to some plants and they scrape these very, very sticky resins off the leaves, and they take them back to the nest where they cement them into the nest architecture, where we call it propolis. We found that propolis is a natural disinfectant. It's a natural antibiotic. It kills off bacteria and molds and other germs within the colony, and so it bolsters the colony health and their social immunity. Humans have known about the power of propolis since biblical times. We've been harvesting propolis out of bee colonies for human medicine, but we didn't know how good it was for the bees. So honeybees have these remarkable natural defenses that have kept them healthy and thriving for over 50 million years. So 7 years ago, when honeybee colonies were reported to be dying in mass, first in the United States, it was clear that there was something really, really wrong. In our collective conscience, in a really primal way, we know we can't afford to lose bees. So what's going on? Bees are dying from multiple and interacting causes, and I'll go through each of these. The bottom line is, bees dying reflects a flowerless landscape and a dysfunctional food system. Now, we have the best data on honeybees, so I'll use them as an example. In the United States, bees, in fact, have been in decline since World War II. We have half the number of managed hives in the United States now compared to 1945. We're down to about 2 million hives of bees, we think. And the reason is, after World War II, we changed our farming practices. We stopped planting cover crops. We stopped planting clover and alfalfa, which are natural fertilizers that fix nitrogen in the soil. And instead, we started using synthetic fertilizers. Clover and alfalfa are highly nutritious food plants for bees. And after World War II, we started using herbicides to kill off the weeds in our farms. Many of these weeds are flowering plants that bees require for their survival. And we started growing larger and larger crop monocultures. Now, we talk about food deserts, places in our cities, neighborhoods that have no grocery stores. The very farms that used to sustain bees are now agricultural food deserts dominated by 1 or 2 plant species like corn and soybeans. Since World War II, we have been systematically eliminating many of the flowering plants that bees need for their survival. And these monocultures extend even to crops that are good for bees, like almonds. 50 years ago, beekeepers would take a few colonies, hives of bees, into the almond orchards for pollination, and also because the pollen in an almond blossom is really high in protein. It's really good for bees. Now, the scale of almond monoculture demands that most of our nation's bees, over 1.5 million hives of bees, be transported across the nation to pollinate this one crop. And they're trucked in semi-loads, and they must be trucked out because after bloom, the almond orchards are a vast and flowerless landscape. Bees have been dying over the last 50 years, and we're planting more crops that need them. There has been a 300% increase in crop production that requires bee pollination. And then there's pesticides. After World War II, we started using pesticides on a large scale, and this became necessary because of the monocultures that put out a feast for crop pests. Recently, researchers from Penn State University have started looking at the pesticide residue in the loads of pollen that bees carry home as food. And they found that every batch of pollen that a honeybee collects has at least 6 detectable pesticides in it. And this includes every class of insecticides, herbicides, fungicides, and even inert and unlabeled ingredients that are part of the pesticide formulation that can be more toxic than the active ingredient. This small bee is holding up a large mirror. How much is it going to take to contaminate humans? One of these class of insecticides, the neonicotinoids, is making headlines around the world right now. You've probably heard about it. This is a new class of insecticides. It moves through the plant so that a crop pest, a leaf-eating insect, would take a bite of the plant and get a lethal dose and die. If one of these neonics, we call them, is applied in a high concentration, such as in this ground application, enough of the compound moves through the plant and gets into the pollen and the nectar, where a bee can consume, in this case, a high dose of this neurotoxin that makes the bee twitch and die. In most agricultural settings, on most of our farms, it's only the seed that's coated with the insecticide. And so a smaller concentration moves through the plant and gets into the pollen and nectar. And if a bee consumes this lower dose, either nothing happens or the bee becomes intoxicated and disoriented, and she may not find her way home. And on top of everything else, bees have their own set of diseases and parasites. Public enemy number 1 for bees is this thing. It's called Varroa destructor. It's aptly named. It's this big blood-sucking parasite that compromises the bee's immune system and circulates viruses. Let me put this all together for you. I don't know what it feels like to a bee to have a big blood-sucking parasite running around on it, and I don't know what it feels like to a bee to have a virus. But I do know what it feels like when I have a virus, the flu. And I know how difficult it is for me to get to the grocery store to get good nutrition. But what if I lived in a food desert? And what if I had to travel a long distance to get to the grocery store, and I finally got my weak body out there, and I consumed in my food enough of a pesticide, a neurotoxin, that I couldn't find my way home? And this is what we mean by multiple and interacting causes of death. And it's not just our honeybees. All of our beautiful wild species of bees are at risk, including those tomato pollinating bumblebees. These bees are providing backup for our honeybees. They're providing the pollination insurance alongside our honeybees. We need all of our bees. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do about this big bee bummer that we've created? It turns out it's hopeful. It's hopeful. Every one of you out there can help bees in two very direct and easy ways. Plant bee-friendly flowers, and don't contaminate these flowers, this bee food, with pesticides. So go online and search for flowers that are native to your area and plant them. Plant them in a pot on your doorstep. Plant them in your front yard, in your lawns, in your boulevards. Campaign to have them planted in public gardens, community spaces, meadows. Set aside farmland. We need a beautiful diversity of flowers that blooms over the entire growing season from spring to fall. We need roadsides seeded in flowers for our bees, but also for migrating butterflies and birds and other wildlife. And we need to think carefully about putting back in cover crops to nourish our soil and nourish our bees. And we need to diversify our farms. We need to plant flowering crop borders and hedgerows to disrupt the agricultural food desert and begin to correct the dysfunctional food system that we've created. So maybe it seems like a really small countermeasure to a big, huge problem, just go plant flowers. But when bees have access to good nutrition, we have access to good nutrition through their pollination services. And when bees have access to good nutrition, they're better able to engage their own natural defenses, their health care that they've relied on for millions of years. So the beauty of helping bees this way, for me, is that every one of us needs to behave a little bit more like a bee society, an insect society, where each of our individual actions can contribute to a grand solution, an emergent property that's much greater than the mere sum of our individual actions. So let the small act of planting flowers and keeping them free of pesticides be the driver of large-scale change. On behalf of the bees, thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick question. The latest numbers on the die-off of bees, is there any sign of things bottoming out? What's your hope/depression level on this?
Yeah, at least in the United States, an average of 30% of all beehives are lost every winter. About 20 years ago, we were at a 15% loss. So it's getting precarious.
That's not 30% a year. That's 30%.
Yes, 30% a year. But then
year.
Beekeepers are able to divide their colonies, and so they can maintain the same number. They can recuperate some of their loss. We're kind of at a tipping point. We can't really afford to lose that many more. We need to be really appreciative of all the beekeepers out there. Flowers.
Thank you.
That was Marla Spivak, recorded at TED Global in Edinburgh, Scotland, June 2013. For more information on TED, visit TED.com.